This Mobile Geeks video is powered by Asus.
Hi, Angie here. I'm at the booth from Acer at Computex 2016 in Taipei in Taiwan, and in front of me is a new version of the Acer Aspire One 11 Cloudbook, and this is the model number AO1-132. The previous version was called 131. There are some changes. The design changed a little bit, and we also have a couple of hardware changes, but mostly it's very similar to the previous version. I think Nicole actually reviewed the previous version, so maybe you want to look it up. Anyway, now we want to take a look at the new version, of course. So let's get to it. This is a pretty cheap device. I think the previous version started at $169 US, and there were a couple of versions available. This one has a little bit better hardware than the previous version. Let me quickly open the hardware tab. It has, once for all, 4 GB of RAM. You might be able to get this with 2 GB of RAM as well. And it has the Intel Celeron N3150. That's a quad-core chip that clocks at 1.6 GHz and goes a little bit up in turbo boost. So the previous version, as far as I remember, had only a dual-core chip. It was the N3050. 2 GB of RAM. The storage is the same, so 32 GB of storage, and as you can see, there's only 13.8 GB free right now. And well, there are a couple of apps pre-installed that you can deinstall, like McAfee and so on. I will just throw it out, and yeah, but that's it. As we know from Windows tablets with 32 GB of storage, it's not a lot. Let's take a further look at the device. We've got an 11-inch display here. It has a resolution of 1366 by 768, and it's actually a matte display. So it's not a glossy display where you can see your face all the time, especially while you're outside, which is good to check your hair, but you can't really read or work, so the matte display is very nice. A little bit sad is that it's not an IPS panel, so if we look from the top onto the display, and then the viewing angles, well, it's pretty bad. You can't see a lot. It's a little bit different if you look from the sides. The viewing angles here are a lot better if you look from the sides, but from the top, I think you can see that in the video, it's not very good. On the positive side, you can actually put the screen back quite a lot. It's almost on the table. So that's very nice. We don't see that a lot with Windows 10 tablets that have a keyboard dock. You usually can't put the screen back that much. So it's not too bad that it's not an IPS panel, because you can just adjust the screen to look on it. And I guess that's something you have to do with this price point. Let's take a look further around the device. We've got a webcam over here. Then on the bottom here, we have a nice chiclet keyboard. As far as I can see, it's not the standard size. It's a little bit smaller, but I'm sure if you get used to it, like in a couple of days, you will be able to type on it quite quickly. The same goes for the trackpad. I actually like it. It's relatively big, especially compared to the keyboard docks of tablets out there. Yeah, it's quite big. I use it a bit. It seems to be quite precise. It's not glass as far as I can tell, but yeah, it seems alright. Everything here is, well, yeah, everything here is obviously plastic. That's what you get with a cheap device, but it's not too bad because it's not a glossy finish, nowhere. We've got a kind of texture here, so you don't see fingerprints that easily. That is very nice, and the same goes pretty much to the whole device. There's no glossy on it, so if you see fingerprints very easily, it always makes it look cheaper than it is. And yeah, that's not the case here. That's something I really like. We've got a LED here, by the way. You can probably see that in the video. And let's go around the device. We've got a USB port here. I think that's a USB 2.0. Then nothing on this side. Then we've got an SD card slot, a headset port, USB 3.0 port, and an HDMI out. And of course a plug for the power. That's it. No camera on the back, like we know from some tablets. On the back you see a couple of screws, but as far as I remember from the previous version, if you open it you can maybe look at the battery or something, but as far as I remember you won't be able to change the RAM or the storage. Maybe it's changed, but probably not. On here runs Windows 10, of course, and yeah, as you saw with 32 GB of storage, there's not much left to install a lot of things or store your music or movies, but that's why it's called a Cloudbook. Acer wants you to put everything in the cloud, and that's why an Office 365 personal layer license is included, so you can use Office and OneDrive to store all your files. I think it's 1 terabyte that you get to store your files for at least a year, maybe 2 years of OneDrive storage, I'm not sure. Yeah, this is a quick look at the Acer Aspire One 11 Cloudbook with the new model number. That's pretty similar though, AO1-132. I'm Andrew. If you have any questions, please write them in the comments. Maybe if you have a question, I can try to ask Acer to give some more info, although it's pretty hard here. There are not a lot of information about this device available here at their booth. Yeah, but maybe I can do something. This is the Acer Aspire One 11. I'm Andrew. Thanks for watching.
This Mobile Geeks video is powered by Asus.